Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I am Amalgamash, and this is, I believe, my first devlog, non-live devlog, concerning Project DeprHaven, which is a game being created by myself and Shar in RPG developer Bakin. I just wanted to log some of my thought process and put it up just in case anybody might find it useful while I am creating this project. This is, unlike the other game jam projects and experiences for learning and minutiae and things like that, a game that I am planning to put forth as commercial, and the intention is for it to be successful. So you are watching me create a game that I hope to sell and sell well. The devlog process isn't going to follow the entire thing. It's just going to follow the demo and some of the game theory that I have developed throughout the whole process. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually selecting floors. I've made 7 very, very rudimentary maps. They are extremely bare bones, but they do link to one another, and they do represent all of the areas that are going to be in demo for DeprHaven. But today, I'm actually going to try to texture them somewhat with some terrains and get my world in which I'm developing to feel a little bit more like a world and not just a bunch of blocks. So I was just selecting a floor, and one of the things that I have learned is intelligent selection. So I'm going to grab terrain type, same. Hold down control and select each one of or elevation type rather, same. So you hold down control and select multiple elevations. You can highlight multiple sections of your tiles, such as your floor. So just trying out different floor textures with the 128. That is to say, the texture is 128 pixels squared. And I'm going to see what this looks like compared to the 128 or 64 squared. We're just going to do a bucket fill on that. That doesn't look too bad. That actually looks pretty good. I actually might really, really like the 64, but I don't know. I don't know if the scope of the game is going to be beautiful 128 or slightly retro 64. Let's take a look at the stone floor. I really like how that looks. I actually really like jagged edges because they look intentional. They don't look like they're aliasing incorrectly or anything like that. Let's see what that looks like compared to the high text. The high text looks good too, though, and there's still some of that pixely edge when you're really close. I do like how that looks. So I might be doing back and forth throughout the course of the stream, and I think that or the devlogs. I think that's fine. The development process in general will probably go back and forth. Let's get some walls going. It's supposed to be an old building, and we'll grab the same elevation again this time, and make sure we hold down control and select all of the other elevations that are the same, because this is all going to be the same wall, and we'll see what happens when we make it brick. I don't like the brick right away. This brick is a little bit better. I'm more focused on the texture than the color, because the color is something that I'm going to be editing. In both cases, with this, I'm gonna grade this to be different color, and this brick wall will be a different color too. I don't like that, that's for sure. Maybe for a cave, maybe for the slime cave that is included with this demo, actually. This one, also, I don't like it. It looks more like a floor than a wall, so I won't be going with that. It looks like I don't have much of a choice. I'm gonna have to go with just brick pattern. You know, I don't mind that, but it is a bit weird because pattern repeats every single tile, like cracks in the same place. I probably don't want to do that either. This might be fine. This actually might be the most fine, so I'll probably just leave that as is, like that. And I'll plan on editing the texture. Now, what I have chosen is we're gonna like to add just like a folder or star these or something. But I got EP1 bricks 01C, so that's something I actually need to make a note of. This is not my game design document, but this information is going to be added to my game design document. Church wall tile and church floor tile. Yeah, the church wall tile so far is this one. Play the name, please. It is EP1 underscore bricks 01C. That's going to help me out a lot. The floor tile, I think, is this one. EP1 bricks 03. Am I right? Yeah, that's what this is. All right, these are the tiles that I'm going to choose to use as placeholders until I have changed the texture and or color at its core. And these tiles are essentially safe, but it also helps me go to another place like the upper floor and select that terrain and once again paste it. And I run into a weird unexpected behavior, but I don't like it all the same. And it's the behavior that these tiles are through and through the same tile. When you raise them up, the textures on the side, even though you would think that these are like building blocks, they're not quite building blocks. They are flat, and you extrude them upwards, and you have combinations and configurations of upward extruded tiles that make up your terrain if you go this route. So the way that I'm going to address this is I'm actually going to make one tile that uses the side texture of the wall that I have chosen and the floor texture of the floor that I have chosen. And when you raise up any of them, they're going to have the wall texture on the side. So it's going to make a lot more sense that way. I think that's how I want to do it. So we'll see how that looks. Oh yeah, I gotta add that one too. There we go. And since I know I'm going to be doing it that way, I might as well do, I probably shouldn't do all of them that way. The alternative is to go to my brick tile and try to get that to look good in and of itself. Now I might be able to do that. I might be happy with that. We'll see real quick. I've got a box select. I'm gonna select this third row only, and I'm gonna fill it with just the brick, and we're gonna zoom back in and see what that looks like. I don't love it. Let's do bricks 01. I don't love that either, and it's because it creates a different floor tile. So yeah, I think I know what my task is going to be. I think I understand how I'm going to get around this. So to address this, I'm gonna have to grab two different tiles and mix them up in my paint software. No problem, I guess. Church wall tile is EP Bricks 03, and it's gonna be in the 128 section. The 64 by 64 have 64 in their names, while the 128s don't have any number in their name at all. At least it doesn't say 128 in the name. So again, I'm looking for EP Bricks 03 and EP Bricks 01C. There's the albedo, so I'm gonna grab that. And there's the mask. I'm gonna grab that, and the normal. We'll grab that too. And EP1 Bricks 01, albedo, mask, and normal. I did say it was Bricks 01C, but now I see just from looking at the paint program, or the file view, while opening them in the paint program, that the 01 without the C at the end is normal. It doesn't have any crumble. The B has a lot of crumble and the C has a little bit of crumble. Well, it's going to be pretty inconsistent if I open up and edit the crumble. I think I'll just go with the non-crumble. So we've got all 6 of these opened all together. And what I'm going to do is just take this right here, and we're going to copy it, and we're just going to paste it right on top of this. Paste it onto new layer, and by default, it just sits right on top. So I actually like that. I'm going to get rid of the selection. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see what I did. The tile that's at the bottom is going to be the one that gets repeated as you make this extrude higher and higher in your map. So this will always be the tile on which your character steps. This is going to be what the wall looks like if you pull this tile up in your map and make it into a structure. And as you continue to pull up, it will continue to use tiles that go down from there. And the last one will repeat. So what I need to make sure I do is not just for this albedo, also for my mask and my normals, I need to go ahead and grab those and paste them onto the mask and normal tile that I'm editing. Because if I don't, then this mask and this normal are going to appear on top of a 4 square mask and normal, or rather, better said, this mask and this normal are going to appear on top of this, and this is going to behave very, very strangely to the light around it. And we don't want that. But we do know this is very, very simple. Just grab this, copy, go here and hit paste to new layer. There it is. We go here, we hit copy here and paste into new layer. It's super, super simple. We are already done. So I can close these 3. I don't have to save changes to them. And then this is my new Uber tile. I'm going to save this as something else though. I'm going to save it as church floor wall. It's going to be a PNG file, and it's going into my DeprHaven folder. I forgot, I need to save this with a underscore and a normal so that the system knows exactly what it is and how to use it. Church wall floor underscore normal. I noticed that was a lowercase n. I don't know that it will matter, but we'll act like it does matter. Church wall mask is this next one. We're going to save it as a PNG. That's going to flatten it. And we will save this one as the albedo version and go back into our game. All right, so for the very first time, I'm going to import a resource for this project. Very simple. I'm just going into terrains, add. For local files, we are going into my DeprHaven folder, and we are going to add all three of these. Hit add and exit. They all have the same name, and then an underscore, and then albedo, mask, or normal, and they're all .pings. I expect that they'll all work fine. File with the same name has been registered. Is it okay to overwrite it? Strange. Sure, church wall normal. Did I already have that name used in Bakin? I guess so. Well, they're uncategorized. We're going to go ahead and fill everything. Okay, so it worked as intended, but it does take on a bit of a jagged form because Bakin's doing what it calls rounding the edges. So we're going to go into the resources again, and we're going to edit this terrain. I don't want it to have round edges. We'll just change that to no over here on the right side. Got no sound effects that it uses. I won't worry about that right now. It can apply state changes, which I might make a state that just says, hey, you're on hallowed ground now, and afflictions such as those associated with death or evil or whatever, darkness, immediately go away. Be pretty neat, huh? Unit size 128, material, map, normal map, that's correctly assigned, that's correctly assigned. We're ready to go. And the light plays off the surface wonderfully. Right there, you see that shimmer going across the rock? It's not a matte surface. Everything's straight now. Looks good. It looks good. Keeping it for now. I may still edit the color and such, but that's my new placeholder for this. A single tile that can handle my wall and floor needs. Let's go to the Church of Agape Lower and fill this entire thing. There we go. Yep, I believe that's it. Now it does have that annoying double brick and then a repeat of just the lower brick. So it's a bit strange for me, but it might work out okay. I'll just edit it further if I need to. I'm really just more worried about having a good default for that. So I've done that. Now we can go to the outside of the church, and I think I'm gonna make a selection on the placeholder for the stone, the natural outside rocky stone. The selection of the ice tile actually looks really good on the side. If I change the color, that might almost work, but every one of the rock faces or ice structure faces, I guess, has this strange outline that I don't like. The surface is okay. The surface is fine, though. I actually like how that looks a lot. I'm gonna turn the grids off, and yeah, I actually like the sheen. I don't think it looks too icy. I think that there's plenty of rock that has kind of like this sheen to it out there in the world, but I'll keep browsing. This might work even better, actually. The side looks good. I like the gray color of what I was looking at earlier, so I think a recolor is in order, but I like the texture of it on the side, and I think I could probably go ahead and merge this tile with the smooth surface of the ice tile and be okay with that. I think that's what I'll end up doing. But for now, we're going to go ahead and go into the next map, summit map here. See how this looks when I paste it everywhere here. Replace the droll gray. Well, I don't like it more than the droll gray. Might seem pretty harsh. Go with the snow tile. I don't like that either. Ice. The ice tile actually looks great. I think I'm going to go with the ice tile because it's easy to recontextualize this and say that's not ice, that's just stone. But I'm gonna need definitely to change the side, and I actually think I could do with a lot of objects that use similar texture to this, and the objects would be like rock formations and structures that I put up everywhere. That would be very useful. For now, that looks better than what I had going on. I'm gonna go back to the other map and replace those with these. Yeah, I like the gray on green better. So onwards to the slime cave, and it looks like I'm gonna have to work on placing all of these black lines that I drew. The reason that I drew them was so I could get a good selection going of the rooms and just drag them all down at once instead of having to repeat over and over again. I traced out my room structure, and then I did a selection of same tile, and it stayed within the black line that I traced. So it was really, really handy for that. This is the only drawback, and it's a minor one, is having to recolor those black marks. This is not obviously going to be the look of the dungeon in the final version, or even the next to final version. This is going to be temporary, placeholder only. I'm liking how it looks though. It's a bit slick looking in here, but I mean, a bunch of slimes live here, so maybe that's something that's going to make sense, you know? Now let's go to the plateau. Do I have anything here? Yes, I do. And actually I need to grab, let's do by type, control, add to that selection, grab the single tile way down here, and we're going to raise those guys up, pop, 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 pop. And then I need to grab this, and we're going to recolor, retexture that. Oh, yeah, nice. And as I continue to do this and get more and more used to Bakin's map editor, it feels more natural to move around in it. I'm starting to commit the movements and stuff to my muscle memory. It feels really, really good to get in here and move around. Water, I'm gonna go ahead and do the water. We'll just have placeholder water. I do not like how that looks. I don't think I like how that looks either. Yeah, I don't. Call me hard to please. At least it's right below the surface. I'm gonna make this water murkier. It's not really supposed to be pure. I do really like kind of how the illusion is made that you can see through the surface down to the floor of it, but we're trying out a couple of different ones. So, ew, that's actually pretty nice. I'll keep those for the placeholder because I like how that looks. And I need to be writing this down. I guess I abandoned it because I ended up making my own tile. But the church wall and floor tile is just called church wall, and it needs to be exported and saved externally. I need to make myself a pack that just uses the tiles that I like using and get rid of all the noise, not because of efficiency's sake, but, well, not because of like the runtime of the software's efficiency or anything, but because of my own efficiency. I don't want to have to dig through a lot of stuff to get to what I want. And then water in general. So far, we're going with EP1 underscore water 64. I didn't realize that was a 64. This is the one that's not a 64. We'll use that. I think I might have looked at that, said ew, and then moved on, and then ended up liking the 64 pixel version. Is that what just happened? I think that is what happened. But you know, at these angles, it's fine. It's fine. It'll work just fine. All right, so then for grass, I'm already using EP1 grass 01, so that's fine. Grass in general is handled by EP1 grass 01, and then rock is handled in general by EP1 ice 6. Is that right? I believe so. Do a single tile. Yeah, that's what that is. No change after I drew it in. So we have now our grass, our rock, our water, and our church tiles logged. I would love to replace this border. I'll figure out how I want to do that. There's a couple of different ways. One being, it's like I don't want these to seem like waterfalls to the player. That's for sure. I might take the entire map and I might lower it down. I might put a black tile, just has black wall all the way around this, and have it do a repeat so that all you see is black or some other color. I might put a skybox around this whole thing and lock the player's view. I'm not really sure how I want to do that yet, but I'm not at that planning stage yet, right? Right now, I'm pretty sure I would like for the view to be somewhat kind of like this, skewed, camera a little bit higher, but like basically Octopath Traveler. A term that I feel is vastly overused when looking at SGB to Unity and Bakin software, but I like thinking about it being kind of like that because that's not dissimilar to the games that inspired this, one of which being Shadowrun. Shadowrun's isometric though, the SNES Shadowrun. But anyways, with those maps done, I've done a little bit of work. I've been able to log what tiles I'm using, and I still got a lot of work to do on the maps. I mean, they're essentially just getting started, but what I'm doing is finding the workflow with these devlogs and with this initial planning to see what sticks and to see what would be intelligent to continue plan with. So anyways, I hope that this was entertaining or gave you some ideas for how to start planning your project. I don't follow a prescribed, like, do this when you game dev. I just go with what I know works for me. And I search for things that work for me in the ways that I know how, and I acquire things that work for me in the ways that work for me. So I'm not trying to put this out there as like the ideal way to make a game or how to RPG, nor am I like super interested in watching other people's stuff on how to definitively and authoritatively start your own thing. When I get to the point where I really want to know how somebody's doing that, I'll definitely seek that out. But right now I'm just kind of enjoying poking around, finding my own workflow. And if that works for you, then I definitely encourage you to do it or give it a try. But anyways, that's enough for now. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next episode. Until next time, fantastic rest of your day, and bye for now.